So Nolan Arenado decided to stir the pot a little bit in terms of what could be happening in the future. He decided to post something to his Instagram story with the song Dodger Blue playing in the background. Dodger Blue, of all songs. We have some more LA news, by the way. They just gave out another contract, and yes, it involves even more deferred money. A third of this new contract is being pushed off. Munetaka Murakami is officially coming to baseball after 2025, I should say Major League Baseball. He's currently playing in Japan. And the starting pitching market has stayed red hot. Frankie Montas and Matthew Boyd have joined brand new teams and then got paid a bag. Even though they haven't been very good or healthy the last few seasons, they got a bag. So if you're a young kid trying to figure out what position you should play, just be a starter. You don't even have to be very good to get a lot of money. So we'll talk about all of that and more in today's MLB recap. We update the news almost every single day, so hit that subscribe button. And don't forget that recap is brought to you by SeatGeek. Save yourself 20 bucks off all of your tickets using code Fuzzy, and download Underdog Fantasy using my code Fuzzy for a free pick'em. You're welcome. We'll talk about Nolan Arenado possibly suggesting that he's on his way to LA in just a few moments, because right now I do have to break down Munetaka Murakami. Murakami is a name that you should be very afraid of, because just a few seasons ago, this kid had 56 home runs in one season. He passed legendary power guys like Sadaharu Oh, who, by the way, has the world record for most home runs by anyone ever. I think he has 870, something crazy like that. Hideki Matsui, once upon a time, had a 50 home run season as well. He beat both of those guys. Now, he did regress a little bit. He had 31 home runs in 2023, then 33 this past season. He takes his walks. He does strike out a bunch, and that's because he has a whiff issue. If you guys don't really understand whiff, that is swinging at a pitch inside the zone. It would have been called a strike, and you just miss it. It's the issue that has plagued Joey Gallo for his entire career, whiffing. Murakami is going to be coming to Major League Baseball at 26 years old, so just like Yoshinobu Yamamoto, he's going to be over the age of 25, so he can be a full-blown free agent. He doesn't have to go the Roki Sasaki route and take basically pennies on the dollar just to get posted and make it to Major League Baseball. Just for some context, I want to bring up one other Japanese star, Pacific League MVP Kensuke Kondo. If you played at MLB The Show, you know that guy is an absolute dog, but he plays for the SoftBank Hawks, who are owned by Masayoshi Son. He wants his team to be the best team in the world, so he rarely allows his players, the guys that play for the SoftBank Hawks, to be posted and come over to Major League Baseball. That's why Kensuke Kondo, who is an MVP type player, is 31 years old and he's never been posted, whereas guys like Sasaki and Murakami, they've already been posted because they don't play for the Hawks. They're actually allowed to come to Major League Baseball. But yeah, Murakami, remember that last name. I mean, just saying that name out loud sounds frightening. He could be the next great offensive Japanese player, a Hideki Matsui type bat. I mean, we called Hideki Matsui Godzilla. That's as scary as it gets. Speaking of scary, I know Nolan Arenado has not been himself the last few seasons, but him in a Dodger blue uniform would be scary. They just won the World Series. They've added Blake Snell. They're probably going to get Sasaki this year and then Murakami next year, and maybe they let Max Muncy go. I don't know how it's going to work, but Nolan Arenado posted a story with the song Dodger Blue playing in the background. I don't know if this is him just feeding into the drama and stirring the pot because it's a fun thing to do. I remember back in the day, Jock Peterson, he was trolling fans as well, saying he was going to sign with this team, and then he didn't. So maybe players are just having fun with it. Nolan Arenado did in fact post this story. I'm not making it up. What do you guys actually think of this? Do you think that he's inferring he wants a trade and he wants out of St. Louis, or is it just pure coincidence? Now, staying with the Dodgers, super quick. Most of you know about this because it's a few days old. Before we talk about Frankie Montas and Matthew Boyd choosing brand new teams, Tommy Edman got 5 years, $74 million. And yes, 1/3 of that contract is being deferred. But remember, or I guess you can't really remember because I forgot to tell you, deferred money still has to be accounted for, aka the Dodgers still have to set aside money for a Mookie Betts, a Freddie Freeman, a Shohei Ohtani, a Tommy Edman, a Blake Snell. Guys who are deferring money, the Dodgers have to stash money aside in an escrow account to ensure the safety of the contract. Now, they're paying the present day value of the AAV. So instead of having to stash away $68 million, the Dodgers are deferring Ohtani's contract and they have to set aside $46 million. So again, the present day value, $68 million in 10 years is going to be worth about $46 million present day. That's what the Dodgers have to set aside. You can't just defer money and call it a day. You have to set aside money. It's still a big endeavor. So keep that in mind for 29-year-old Tommy Edman. 1/3 of his contract is being deferred, but the Dodgers still have to set aside some money. Now, Edman essentially stole Miguel Rojas' job. He can also play center field. This dude hit .330 in October with 7 extra base hits and 13 RBIs in 16 games. We called him Tommy Tanks, and he's a perennial Gold Glove type of guy who's going to get you 25 plus doubles, 10 plus home runs, 20 something stolen bases. I mean, Edman had a 6.2 WAR in 2022. The fact that he's a Dodger after being traded from the Cardinals, this is just what the Dodgers do. They steal from pretty good franchises. I consider the Cardinals and the Red Sox and the Braves to be nice franchises, but I guess the Dodgers are the cream of the crop. They don't care who you are. They're going to steal some of your better players and make them even better. The Mets are trying to do the same with Frankie Montas, although this is not a trade. Frankie Montas, he ended his season with the Brewers last year. He's getting $34 million from the New York Mets and Daddy Cohen for the next 2 seasons. So if we take a look at the Mets over the last few years, they've had Chris Bassett, Sean Manaea, Paul Blackburn, Frankie Montas. They're the New York Athletics. That's basically the A's rotation from a few seasons ago. Now, Frankie does still throw gas. His fastball gets up to triple digits at times. His sinker hovers around 96 to 98. The Mets are praying that they can get 2018 to 2021 Frankie Montas, who had a 3.5 ERA with fantastic strikeout stuff. Now, the Brewers, they did find that strikeout stuff again despite his awful ERA. The Brewers, again, they found the strikeout stuff. Frankie had 70 strikeouts in 50 innings to end 2024 compared to 78 strikeouts in 93 innings with the Reds. So Kodai to Montas isn't going to be a fun duo to face in terms of stuff. Then you go David Peterson, Paul Blackburn, Tyler McGill. They really have to bring Sean Manaea back. If you guys don't remember, he is a free agent. The Mets are also going to be in the running to get a Corbin Burns or a Max Fried, but Frankie Montas has an almost 5 ERA over the past few seasons, but because the Mets think that they can fix him, he throws gas. He's still got $34 million. Matthew Boyd, again, this is a I believe in your ceiling type of deal because Matthew has been pretty bad throughout his career, and he's also been injured on top of that. Despite that, because of his small little window of success with the Guardians last season and what he did back in 2022. We'll talk about that in a moment. Matthew Boyd is turning a 2.7 ERA and a 10.5 strikeouts per 9 in 8 starts. He also allowed 1 earned run in the playoffs with the Guardians with also a bunch of strikeouts. Like, he was very, very good. He is springboarding a small little patch of success into almost $30 million. He gets 14.5 per year from the Chicago Cubs. Now, honestly, it pains me to see Boyd go because I thought maybe he would throw the Guardians a bone and thank the Guardians for saving his career by coming back on maybe a team-friendly deal, but considering his injury success and how good he was, I don't blame him at all for jumping on this insane money. He gets $29 million despite a career 4.85 ERA, and again, the injuries on top of it. His slider curveball combination, it was nearly unhittable last year, and his fastball had some giddy-up. He was missing barrels all season long, and like I hinted at back in 2022, he had a 1.3 ERA in 13 innings, I will say, but that was a small sample size that teams will pay attention to. So you're going to go Shota Imanaga, Justin Steele, Jamison Taillon, Matthew Boyd, Javier Assad. That's not a awful 1 through 5. That's actually really, really impressive. Then you have to factor in their young guys like Jordan Wicks, a Ben Brown, who is disgusting, a Hayden Wesneski, maybe Javier Assad and Wesneski go back to the bullpen for the sake of making Wicks or Brown a 5 guy. What do you make of these moves for Montas and Boyd? What about the Edman deferred contract? Areando posting a story with the Dodger Blue song, and then Murakami coming to Major League Baseball soon. What'd you make of today's recap? I'm actually curious.